For the past 6 months, the inquiry has been unable to publish evidence and materials on its website due to the Ministry of Defence applying to prevent the publication of any further evidence and materials until the completion of all the detention operation witness evidence in 2026. Of course, I share their concern that nothing should be published that would undermine my anonymity order, but I also have a duty to keep the public informed of the work of this inquiry. I considered with great care the submissions and materials advanced on the issue by all core participants. I've now ruled on that application. I refused it on the basis that I was entirely satisfied that the concerns expressed by the Ministry of Defence were already being properly addressed by the inquiry and MOD teams engaged in the gisting and redaction process. I have directed that the publication of inquiry materials, evidence, and gisted transcripts are to restart as soon as possible. I can assure you that the inquiry has been very busy and made notable progress. There are more details in an update document on the inquiry website. Let me remind everyone what this inquiry is about and what it is not about. The allegations that the Secretary of State for Defence has charged the inquiry to investigate, and I reiterate these remain allegations at this stage, are whether there is credible information that UK Special Forces deliberately executed Afghan males during detention operations in Afghanistan between mid-2010 and mid-2013, and whether these acts were covered up. It is not about the complexities of the fog of war. It is not about split-second decisions taken in combat. There are 3 important matters which I note from recent media reporting and communications around the inquiry that increasingly appear to be overlooked or misconstrued, and I take this opportunity to address. First, the allegations in question were made at the time by UK Special Forces personnel themselves and shared with other UK Special Forces personnel. This was a significant factor in the public inquiry being set up and provided a clear justification for a thorough investigation of all the allegations. Evidence of the complaints raised by Special Forces is being shared with core participants. The inquiry will continue to publish the evidence when work by the inquiry and MOD teams has been completed to ensure that there are suitably redacted versions that may be published whilst protecting the identity of individuals and national security. Second, the inquiry is charged with establishing whether there is credible information of extrajudicial killings. A statutory public inquiry is expressly prohibited from determining either civil or criminal liability. This inquiry is definitively not a criminal investigation. It is an examination of the available evidence to establish what happened. The terms of reference permit the inquiry to refer any matters on for further investigation. I make it clear, so there is no doubt, that I have not and will not reach any conclusions until I have seen all the evidence and heard all the submissions from the core participants. Third, I emphasize, as all the senior military leaders have done, the importance of the inquiry investigating the matter thoroughly and reaching a clear conclusion as to whether there is substance in any of the allegations. It does not serve the public interest of the United Kingdom or the Afghan families for these very serious allegations to remain unresolved, and it undermines the UK Special Forces and their important work. I wish to acknowledge the considerable stress and difficulty this inquiry will cause those from whom we seek evidence. The detail, care, and rigour of our investigation is not driven in anticipation of any particular outcome. It is to establish the truth, so that further damaging speculation or uncertainty is avoided and these allegations do not resurface decades later. It remains vital that any individual who has any evidence that will assist me should come forward. This may be done directly and in confidence to the inquiry or via the Ministry of Defence. Details of how to get in touch with the inquiry securely can be found on the inquiry website. Thank you.